All right, what is your greatest weakness? This is an interview question. It's not a very good interview question, but it gets asked all the time, so you got to be ready to answer it. Basically, the recruiter's trying to understand what you're all about, what you're good at, what you're not good at. But if you're not prepared for this question, it can completely derail you. So here are 2 bad ways and 1 good way to answer this question. The first bad way is to give a particularly egregious weakness, or like a weakness that's overly personal or just bad. Like, I have a temper problem. I don't wear deodorant. I hate the sound of small children laughing. There's no drug test for this job, is there? There is. Dang it. I don't really take well to criticism. All right, so you want to stay away from those answers, of course. Most people do. The second bad way to answer this question is much more common, and that's when you give a BS answer that is really a strength and recruiters see through it. So for example, I'm a perfectionist, I'm too passionate, people on my team like me too much. I love working every day. I'm just so good at what I do. I'm tremendous. I do a tremendous job. I'd say my greatest weakness would be that I don't have any. Okay, so you gotta stay away from these answers as well because it'll come off as phony. All right, let's talk about the right way to answer this question. There are 2 parts to answering it. The first part is to give a legit but understandable weakness that has a business context to it. So for example, you might say, I tend to be very detail oriented, and sometimes in my zeal to make sure I have all the details covered, I lose the big picture, and sometimes I need to take a step back. Or you could say, I really value being efficient, and as a result I have a strong bias for action, but sometimes in that bias for action, I tend to rub people on my team the wrong way, or I tend to miss critical details. So that's what you do. You lay out a legit weakness, and then you talk about the implications of that weakness. The second part to answering this question is to provide some specific examples of what you are already doing to improve on this weakness. So back to my example of someone who loves efficiency, you could say something like this. So in my prior job, over the last 6 months, every time I had a critical decision that I was making, I made sure that I went to 2 or 3 of my team members that I know had an eye for detail and asked them before I made a big decision what they thought I was missing. So back to my example of someone who values efficiency and has a bias for action, you could say something like this. So over the past 6 months, what I've done to make sure that I am working on this weakness and improving on this weakness is every time with my team, before I make a big decision on a project, I go to 2 or 3 people that I know are really good at details, and I ask them if I am missing anything before I make that big decision. And as a result of that, every single time I have found that they've provided input that has been very valuable, that has enabled this project to go even better after I have made the decision. And my team felt more valued because of it. You guys see what I did right there? Huh? I laid out a legit weakness, and then I talked about specific things I was doing to improve on that weakness. So do not let this question derail you guys. Answer it like that, and I know you're gonna do great. Good luck.